Well, the first step to being healthy is having a home. It's being able to have a warm place to be at night. Being the firstborn and being the first generation, I have grown up in scarcity mindset. I saw my parents use food stamps to pay for things. So I have lived in poor mindset my whole life. I was throwing the spaghetti at the wall, left and right. What's going to work? What's going to do? And I often say in Seattle, I'm like the magenta up against the gray backdrop. I'm going to steal a line from you to see my business as a CEO and not as a real estate agent.
Hey, welcome back to my show. I'm super excited for my guest today. Reema Rafii is a real estate entrepreneur who has totally transformed her journey. And you're going to hear today how she has moved her mindset from scarcity and overwhelm into what I look at as a super thriving, systematized business model. She has her strong roots in public health and she loves her Zumba, and she's built a brand anchored in authenticity and community. Her story demonstrates that differentiation, delegation, and CEO level thinking are not luxuries. They're the foundation for how you scale your business with soul and with intent with who you are. Reema believes that your story is your system. She shows that when you lean into authenticity, you face overwhelm with structure and embrace money conversations with confidence, you unlock the ability to scale without losing sight of who you are. So Reema, welcome to my show.
Hello, Linnea. I'm so excited to be here with you.
I love having you here. Just found out that you have not had a podcast interview before. So everyone give her a break. Give her a break. It's her first one. She's gonna do a great job.
One thing I do know how to do is talk though. So
yeah, you do know how to talk. That's true. You do know how to talk. But Reema, tell the audience, who are you? You know, how long have you been in real estate?
Yeah.
You know, why'd you get into the business?
Well, I'm Reema Rafii, as Linnea said, and I have lived in Seattle for 27 years. I grew up just this week, as a matter of fact. It is my 27-year anniversary of driving here to Seattle with my cat in my car from graduate school in St. Louis, Missouri. I grew up in New Orleans to Arab Latina parents. I'm first gen and firstborn. There's a lot that will show up about that later. Shows up in my life all the time. And I came out here with a graduate degree in public health and social work. And I love working in communities with diverse groups of people. And I did that for a very long time in a lot of contract-based work. And as I was getting older, I needed to secure a better financial future for myself as retirement looms somewhere out there. But I just got tired of being dependent on the next contract to come through and wanted to be able to do more, not just for myself, but to be able to make a difference in the lives of other low-income kids of color, like I once was.
Love that.
I'm still a kid of color.
I was going to say, aren't we all still kids?
I'm still a kid of color.
I love it. You know, I think one of the things that has always been true about you has been from day one, you have been very much like, this is who I want to work with. This is what I want to do. This is how I want to use my business. And I think a lot of that comes from your personal story. So I'd love you to, help translate for people that are watching or listening. How do you translate your personal story, being a kid of color, into something measurable, something measurable that gets good outcomes for you?
One thing I didn't mention either, which is combined, is that I also teach Zumba classes on the side. Okay. And for those who don't know, Zumba is a dance fitness program that's based in world music and world rhythms. So it was a great way for me to combine that. And my approach with public health going into real estate, first of all, was, well, the first step to being healthy is having a home. It's being able to have a warm place to be at night. And whether that is renting or buying, the buying end, you're building your equity and you're building your generational wealth. And that is something that families of color have not been historically able to do in this country. So for me, it's being able to connect across cultures and sort of break down systems that have been rooted in some institutional barriers for people. And so with that, I take that into real estate to help, especially first-time buyers and first-time sellers, or people who haven't sold in a really long time. They're basically first-timers, and help them navigate one of the most complex transactions and expensive transactions in their lives. So all of this work with different communities and in the Zumba classroom as well, I learned to engage with and motivate and connect with people across all walks of life and different ages and stages of their life. And I think that that allows me to be very approachable. And I just naturally am very energetic and vibrant. And I bring a lot of that, plus this very service driven social research background. I'm a problem solver at heart. So all of those skills I bring in, but I do that in a way that's very warm and approachable and hopefully building lifelong relationships with the clients that I work with.
I love that. Tell me, like, before you kind of got into this piece of this side of your business, right? Because right now I would 100% think that you are living, your business is fully Reema, which is awesome. And not everyone gets to do that, right? Not everybody has the opportunity to be fully themselves in their business because there is some pressure to feel more professional or to fit a certain mold, you know, that, you know, for whatever reason that happens in our industry. So I know I'm not even going to ask you, did you ever feel that pressure? Because I know the answer is yes. But what helped you break out of feeling that you had to fit into someone else's mold of what a real estate should be?
Ooh, that's a huge question. And this kind of goes back to what I said at the beginning about sort of being the firstborn and being the first generation. Mm-hmm. There's a lot that comes with that around mindset related to who you are, the people you are around. There's things like talking about money is very sort of taboo in our cultures. It's just like we just don't talk about it. We don't ask for it. We just do. And so a lot of it was learning to ask for help is not a weakness. I didn't have to do all this on my own. And I kind of came at that from also a graduate school background. Like you go to school, you do internships, you do all these things that prepare you to go into a career. With real estate, you don't really get that right off the bat. You take a test, you get licensed, and then someone says, okay, go. And you get a little bit of coaching from your brokerage, but some brokerages are better than others at doing that. Some people are better than others at doing that. I'm a self-starter in a lot of ways, but I'm maybe not good at discovering what I don't already know. So I needed people to share that. And that was where the big piece of overwhelm, I think, came from at the beginning of this career is you can talk to 20 different seasoned real estate agents and you'll get 100 different strategies of how to make your business great.
Yeah.
And I am a very action-oriented person and I love doing. So I was trying everything. I was throwing the spaghetti at the wall, left and right. What's going to work? What's going to do? But some things didn't feel good. Some things felt better. Honestly, it took me 4 years and finding you, Linnea. And there were other people along the way who had some good mindset messages and things like that. But I really needed someone to show me how to set up systems and really lean into what worked in my heart of hearts and really value the pieces of me. I, you know, as a kid of color, I grew up in the South. So there's all sorts of mixes of people to fit into and hiding the parts of me that don't fit in. I often say in Seattle, I'm like the magenta up against the gray backdrop. And, you know, I'm not for everyone. And that's hard because I want to be liked by everyone, but I know I'm not for everyone. And I just have really, with you, spent a lot of time accepting those parts of me that are different and unique and are part of my brand and being okay with that. And so putting all of these pieces into place has really allowed me to breathe a little easier and really start seeing, you might ask this later, but I'm going to steal a line from you that you said to me last month, was really starting to see my business as a CEO and not as a real estate agent.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's true. It's true. I think like most of the time when people come and talk to me about wanting to coach, right? It's because there is something like what you just said missing. There's a lot of overwhelm. And you kind of touched on this a second ago when you're talking about, you know, talk to 20 different agents and you're going to get 100 different ideas, right? Right. But that's not the only type of overwhelm, right? We have overwhelm with finances. Yeah. We have overwhelm with, you know, marketing, overwhelm how to talk to people, how to fill out a contract, there's so many different pieces.
How to be a business owner and run a business.
Right.
I have an MBA.
Right. Although Although you do have a degree, right? So there is some level, there is that education level. And I think sometimes that having that, kind of the mindset of how do I be a successful real estate agent? Just that question itself can be a super overwhelming question. What do you think? And like, you said, there's two things you said that I want to touch on. First is money mindset. Money mindset. I am super big on your mindset around money. I'm super, big on the way you treat your money is the way money is going to treat you. So talk to me a little bit about kind of some of the money mindset that you've worked through and the difference it's made in your business and your life.
Well, there are two things I will just say that I have grown up in scarcity mindset. And there are two things that really have driven that and have driven that only up until a year and a half ago, 2 years ago.
Okay.
Honestly, one of that was growing up in a poor immigrant family. I saw my parents use food stamps to pay for things. I saw my dad having a little bit of money at one point and spending it all. And then we're back to nothing. And that kind of up and down and not great money management habits. And my mom kind of closing her eyes to it saying, well, that's the man's job to take care of the money. So I don't know anything about that. And then my dad was also treating me as the firstborn saying, you've got to hold up this family and you're the one that's going to get the education and do all these things. There was a lot of pressure around that. I went into social service. I wasn't making any money. So I went into social service because that's where my heart was. And I'm very empathetic and connected to people. And because of that, I had to take out a lot of student loans. And so not only did I live with bad money management and not understanding how to make or save money and set myself up, but I also then ended up living off of student loans and racking up a heck of a lot of debt that just compounded over the years because I was in a profession that didn't allow me to pay huge chunks of that back. So I have lived in poor mindset my whole life because I wasn't paying back on those loans and I was constantly chasing things. Thank you to the previous president who instilled a program that allowed those of us in a public service profession who have been trying to pay them off for 25 years. I did get those dismissed. And that didn't really change anything for me. I still had that deep in me. So I had to really learn how to thank my money every day and start thinking about saving. I unfortunately went through a divorce, but the fortunate part of that was selling my own home and making the money off of that, not only as an ex-spouse, but as the realtor on that deal. And then finally starting to see like, okay, I don't need to blow through this. How do I save? How do I connect myself with a financial advisor and start building habits that will create a nest egg? I put half of that away and I'm not paying attention to that. I let my financial advisor invest that for me and help me to build that. And we constantly have conversations about how to set myself up. And I am finally at a point where I can okay, I don't need to continue spending. It's not filling anything for me. I also carried some ancestral stories that I really learned were ancestral experiences and not my experiences. And I was carrying those stories with me. And I really was I've done some work in the last few months to really let those go. That's not me. I can be abundant. I can be successful. I can have a beautiful.
You are abundant.
I am.
You are.
I am abundant. And I do have money in the bank and I am setting myself up and setting my business up to be able to help others in the future.
And, the other thing that you're with the money story, because, you've heard my money story. I have a money story. We all do. The other thing with the money story that I often see impact real estate agents is when you don't have the right energy around money, the easiest thing for you to do to try to get deals is to devalue what you do.
Right.
And I feel like, obviously I talk about this a lot. It's something I teach. I talk deeply about it. There's a whole course in my training about setting your value, knowing your value, speaking your value, presenting your value. And we did some one-on-one we did some classes with it, right? So have you noticed a difference since you've gone through this money mindset in your personal life? Have you noticed that impact your value conversations when it comes to your clients in a positive way?
It has, and it's an area that I continue to improve upon emphasizing. It's talking about what my mission is and what my why is, and letting people know that when you get me, I'm not just the cashier at the register clicking a transaction. When you have an agent that is by your side advocating for you from the day you sign that buyer's agreement, from the day you meet, even all the way to beyond the closing, because that relationship continues beyond that. And you have someone there who's bringing in their experience, their knowledge, their hard work, working for you behind the scenes. You often don't see what things happen behind the scenes because we're there to protect you and not have you be stressed out about this big transaction. You get all of that. Your experience becomes smoother and becomes easier, and you have somebody you can trust by your side. That's all tied into what are your values as a client? Are you willing to pay for that to make sure that you get what you want and have your dream come true and have it be smooth all the way to the end?
I love it.
Did that answer your question?
You basically just gave Reema's commercial. I'm like, I hope people watch this so they can see why they should work with you. It's very clear. It's very clear.
I do like to also say that it's not about completing a transaction or charging money. It's really about fueling a legacy. Your legacy as building generational wealth for your family and your own equity, and my legacy of being able to help young kids of color get college educations. And succeed in this world.
I love it. I love it. Tell me so you've got a lot more confidence, just like even right now, I can just see the confidence. Like, and you were not always this confident. We're not always this confident, right? You've definitely developed confidence. Yeah. You've definitely developed confidence over the last, we've been working together for 10 months now, I think 10 or 11 months. So, you've definitely developed a lot of confidence. So tell me, and I mean, I think I know the biggest win that I've seen, but I want in your words, what do you think is the biggest win that you've received because of your confidence? Like, what's the biggest value, or I guess the biggest reward in your business because of the confidence that you've developed?
Oh my gosh, there's so many.
Reema's, whoa! By the way, Reema had nothing to say.
Right?
She was quiet. Whoa.
You got me.
Got you.
So there's been a professional and a personal, I will say. Okay. It all comes from personal, right? I've had a really big breakthrough on realizing where scarcity has affected me in other areas of my life, not just money. And a huge piece of that was around connectedness, having people I could connect to and rely on. And I had a recent reawakening around I've got me. My connection is to me. I have been through a lot and I continue to be through a lot. And I know every step of the way exactly how to shift and to pivot and to get past, to get through, because that's the only way past. And I have everything in me to be able to do that. And once I realized that I was my own connection, I am my person, changes everything.
Yeah.
And because of that, when I am my most authentic self, the people that I love working with are the people that I attract. And that's happened a lot for me in the last few months. A lot.
Love that. That's like my biggest win. I'm like, like goosebumps. I'm like, it's so true. It's so true.
I know I've come to you with, oh my gosh, this person just doesn't want to work with me. And it's like, oh no, the universe is saving me from a really difficult relationship or a really difficult client. So I no longer sweat the people that I don't connect with. And for me, yes, I have goals, and yes, I have legacy that I want to leave behind, however that is. But for me, it's not about racking up numbers of people. I don't need to have 100 transactions a year unless it is 100 transactions with 100 ideal clients that value me and what I bring them. Yeah.
Yeah. And you also, I think this has also led to your biggest price point that you ever got, right? You just had a closing on one of the biggest price points you've ever had.
It was the biggest transaction of my life. I closed on a $1.3 million home, and it turned out to be even more lucrative because the same couple turned around and gave me their condo to sell as well, which I got under contract in 14 days and just closed a couple of days ago on. And I love them and they love me and their cat loves me. And so it's a whole relationship. But you just know that people like that, people that I've connected with in my Zumba classes, people I've connected with in some volunteer situations in the community, they know, like, and trust me. And so that's where referrals come from. And I've received a couple in those areas. And I know I will be able to rely on this particular couple in the future. When they hear of somebody or they have a neighbor, they're going to refer me. And that makes me feel good.
Talk to me about the journey that you've taken this year. Because when you first came to me, you had talk about like the tangible business journey, right? Like you had, we didn't know how many deals you had a goal. You had a goal. First, you can talk about that, your goal. And I was like, well, how are you going to get there? And you remember what you said?
No, I don't. Actually,
I'll tell you. I do.
What I said.
I remember. So I said, what's your goal this year? And you said what?
I would like to close 10 transactions.
And I said, how much do you have in the pipeline right now? And you said what?
1.
Right. I said, okay, so where are the other 9 going to come from? And this is what you don't remember?
I have no idea.
He said, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm going to trust that the universe is going to drop it. And I was like, so you think the universe is, you said, I think I'm going to trust that the universe got me. And I said, cool. You're going to trust the universe just going to, drop them out of the sky for you. And you're like, no, what you said was, I actually trust that you are going to help me find them.
Oh,
that's what you said. And I was like, oh my God, there's so much pressure. What if I can't? No, I'm kidding.
No, you didn't say that because look what you've done.
No, I didn't say that. I actually said, no, it's not me who's going to help you find it. It's you who's going to help you find it. And where are you at right now?
I am halfway to my goal of transactions closed. And I believe that I have just capped. I'm waiting to see the official.
I love that. Congratulations.
I'm expecting balloons and confetti and an email that says, congratulations. We'll see if that actually comes. But
first time in your career too, by the way.
My first time capping in my career. And there are still 3 months left of the year to continue closing deals, which will allow me to receive 100% of my commission, which is a huge bump for me.
Right.
And feels like the financial security that I wanted. And I have it now, and it feels fantastic. But yes, I did not know because I still had been throwing spaghetti at the wall and wasn't clear where things were going to come from and what I was going to do. And I knew, as someone who has worked in project management, I knew that I needed systems to set up. And yet it was very hard to focus my vision on what to do. Like, I could still throw 20 pieces of spaghetti on the wall and project manage those perfectly on paper, but who has the time and the energy to be able to do all of those things at once?
Yeah, I don't know.
Right.
No one.
No.
No one. And the other thing that I think is really cool is that I've also taught a lot of new systems, like a lot of new technology. I introduced a lot of new stuff, right? So the thing that I will say about you is you don't really wait. Like I don't ever feel like you have to be ready to try something. You're willing to try something. So when it comes to like resistance with like technology, because that is a number one complaint that I get from agents, especially the ones that I work with, is technology, right? You seem to push through it. So like, how do you do that?
Well, one of the things is I've been told over and over and over for many years now that you can't wait for things to be perfect. You just have to dive in. And I joke as a Gen X kid that sometimes technology right now and social media, especially with all the apps that come out every 5 minutes, that I feel like the ladies that were in their 60s and 70s in the front office at school who had to go from click and typewriter to a word processor, and they were very resistant. I'm like, I totally understand how that feeling is scary because it's so much and it's coming at us so fast. But I I also think a lot of things are really exciting, and I'm a lifelong learner. I'm very curious. I like to learn new things. I like to see, almost to a fault, like I like to consume. And then sometimes I don't plan well enough for putting things into practice. So that's the point that I'm trying to move into now, is I don't have to consume everything. Some things can go past me, because the next version will be there next year and it'll be fine. But it really is, I'm looking at technology now, not from a point of entertainment, but how can it help me be more efficient? Yeah. And how can it help me get things done quicker and get myself out there quicker? And this has also brought up the need for hiring people to help me do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's been something that's always been a little bit of a challenge too, right? I mean, not just for you, but I mean, for me too, like, let's be real. Cause like, you know, we want to be in control of everything in our business.
And with that money mindset, it's like, oh, well, yeah. I can't afford to hire somebody right now because I'm just trying to build up my monthly budget. But no, when you start telling me, when I start realizing like, oh, having a transaction coordinator is going to make my business really be able to expand, because I'll be able to take on capacity different with somebody else running the background of a transaction for me, but they don't get paid until closing. It's like, oh, I can just work that into the closing costs and I don't have to worry about it coming out of my pocket monthly.
Right. So I love that. It's like total money mindset. You start to look at your business from a different lens. That's really like the CEO mindset right there. How can I be more efficient without having to spend more upfront right now? Right? How can my money work for me? How can my time work for me in the best sense?
Right.
So I love that. Okay. Talk to me about your daily life. How has that changed since you've really started operating your business from more of a CEO standpoint? How has that impacted your daily life?
I do feel mentally more focused.
Okay.
I am able to discern what values my energy and what isn't worth my energy. It's a day-to-day challenge to time block and stick to a time blocked calendar. And I continue to do it because I do know that having that in place it does allow me to, it does help prevent the overwhelm, which is what causes me to spin. So if I can stay focused and create ways for me to not feel overwhelmed and feel like I'm being productive, it does allow me to free up more time for myself.
Right.
And that is important for me because I really, really, really value doing mental and spiritual development stuff outside of real estate. I am a person that really needs to have my heart and my head full a lot. And so allowing me to shift that really creates a balance for me. And that's what I'm looking for, right? Balance, time and money, freedom.
Right. And I mean, that's a heart of what I do. That's why I do what I do, is so that you can find your freedom in your life, whatever that freedom is. No one else can tell you what that freedom is. It doesn't have to be any other metrics of success. I love that earlier you're like, I could sell 100 homes, but I don't have to. I'd rather sell 100 homes to 100 clients that are my ideal clients. Right. Because that is the core of why I do what I do. So kudos to you and thank you for being like, just I've got to tell you, like, I often, if I were to think of my ideal client, like right now, which I do every day, if I think of my ideal client in my coaching business, I actually turn down more people in my coaching business than I say yes to. Same with my real estate business, as I talk about all the time. I turn down more people than I say yes to, because I want people who have Reema's I'm going to figure it out no matter what it takes drive. And I think that drive is something that's going to take you super, super, super far. And it's like, it's taken you from 0 to 5 plus 2 actives right now, right? Yeah. It's taking you that far. And by the way, like, people who are watching this need to know that Reema didn't take 9 months to go from 0 to getting half of her goal. She literally didn't close anything until like April or May of this year, which is 3 or 4 months ago. So it took her 4 months really of like honing in on how she's going to build her business to get half the results that she wanted to get for the year. So like, also remember that, Reema, it's not that you didn't take all year to do that because you didn't have any closings for quite a few months.
Correct.
So even more power to you.
More to come.
More to
come.
I can't wait. I'm just like, oh my gosh, so exciting. Like, on our call this morning, I'm like, wait, you only have 3. I wrote it down. I was like, you only need 3 to make your goal.
Yeah.
Only need 3.
And actually, I did say that my goal after capping was to make 60,000 more.
There you go.
You know, it's either 10 or 60,000 more. So 3 more deals or $60,000 more. So
there's multiple ways to make more money in real estate. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to ask you a couple more specific things, more about like what made you finally, because you and you've kind of been in my little aura for a while.
The same family, the Agent Collective family, right?
Yeah. And you were on my calls when I did Agent Power Huddle for a while. You were there for probably about a year when I was doing the free trainings. So what made you finally decide to say, okay, I want to see, like, because I give a lot of value in free and people can listen to me for free all day, every day. Like there's so much that you can get from me for free. So what made you decide to say, okay, I don't want your free stuff anymore. I want to pay you.
Because like I said before, I'm a lifelong consumer. I can consume till the cows come home. And having the direction and the guidance to implement and to having feedback on how things were being implemented, how to improve them, all of that, I needed that from someone who was demonstrating not just experience and success, but also was compassionate. And I could tell had a heart. And you and I have a shared love for the fitness world. And so I felt like that was a connection as well. Mm-hmm. And I've had, you are not my team lead. I have a different team lead. I have other people that I have encountered along my path in real estate, and no one has instilled in me the confidence that you have. And that has not just been about systems and about, I've had other people who've been like, well, just do this. I have another lead who is like, got a similar program. Here's a free program I give to everyone on my team and just watch it and go through and do the things. And that wasn't working for me up to this point. I really needed an accountability. I needed the mindset. I needed to be taught in a way that I understood and that I felt like was supporting me to implement, not judging me if I didn't do it correctly. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think there's multiple ways we get that, right? We have our community, we have our calls, we have our Discord channel. What do you think has been the most impactful for you of of everything within the coaching community? What do you think has been the most impactful?
Without a doubt, our weekly group calls, really having your guidance and it's interesting. I think I want people to hear this as your coaching calls are not like other calls that I've been on where someone comes in and talks at you for an hour and then you go back and try and remember how to do the thing that they instructed. Your coaching calls are very much group discussions. We have built a little bit of an accountability group within that. And you give us the space and the freedom to recognize where we're right and where we're wrong. And you will open up your computer and share your screen and walk us through step by step how to do something. We're all at different skill levels around technology, especially, so it's like really introducing us to something and then gently pushing us to go give it a try and then giving us the feedback. And it's always with the intention of getting better, not an intention of judgment or how we did something wrong.
Yep.
Right. So I think it helps me to be confident in my skill and enhancing that skill, improving that skill, getting better at it every time.
Yeah, thank you. I love that. That's why I like to do these interviews, because I like to ask, first of all, for feedback, but also I like to hear what works and also what doesn't work. Right. So I want to know, because anyone that's watching this are probably going to be watching this because, I mean, it's going to go on YouTube, but they're probably also going to be watching this because I'm directing them to watch your testimonial because it's just going to resonate with them. So is there anything that made you almost not want to buy? Like when I was like, hey, Reema, here's what I can offer you. Here's what it looks like. Is there anything that made you almost not want to do it? And then why did you decide to instead?
Only one thing, the price tag. You know, when you have a scarcity mindset, it's really hard to put a significant amount of money towards something that you're not entirely certain will have the end result that you want. And like I said, in my prior 4 years, I'd been paying for a lot of overconsumption and not having the same results for it. And I think a lot of that is due to not having the compassionate follow-up that you've provided in this programming, even to the point of continued monthly coaching, which is a significant amount of money. And when you start to see the results in your business and to start to see where your business can go, you become confident that that's just a drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, if you think about what you've spent versus what you've earned this year,
yeah,
you have 3 or 4x what you've spent, I think. A little more than that, probably.
Probably. I haven't even calculated.
Yeah. I mean, just based off of what I know you've done for volume this year and what I know your offer and your value is, I think you've at least 3x, if not more.
I've done over $2 million in volume, which doesn't seem like a lot in a Seattle market, but it's a lot in a lot of other markets. And, I'm pretty sure that I'll close in, if not surpass 3 million in volume by the end of this year.
Yeah. So you've 6x'd your investment.
Okay. There you go.
We've gotten 6 times your investment on since deciding to take the plunge and be like, okay, I'm going to do it. Right. That just goes to show like that when you commit to yourself. And I mean, the thing is like like I said, you followed me and got a lot of my free content for a long time, and people could totally do that if they wanted. Right. Yeah. Do you think there's a big difference in you, not just me, but do you think there's a big difference in you since you decided to go all in and invest in yourself?
Yes. And I think it's a lot of what we've already talked about. It's really seeing my business as, I think I'm standing next to the hamster wheel now instead of running on the hamster wheel.
That's a really good visual. I like it.
Yeah. So I think before I was running on the hamster wheel and really worried about having money to cover my bills, and like I needed a certain amount by the end of the year. And it was all about the money. And I knew in my heart that that wasn't my why. I'm not in real estate. Yes, I'm in real estate to foster a living as a career, but I'm not just in it for the money. Right. And I needed to be in a program like this where I had guidance, not one-on-one. We have lots of people in our group, but it was more directive feedback and more directive focus and strategy, and having somebody help me think of my business as a business, that CEO mindset, having to look at it more in that way to realize how the business is going to continue to flow and not just where's the next deal coming from.
Yeah, I love that.
And that has helped me with my confidence in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And I think that you perfectly just summed up exactly what I hope people get when they coach with me. So thank you. I mean, so that's the goal. The goal is that I really want you to look at your business as a service to your life, right? Like it should come as a backseat. It should be the driver for what fuels your wanting to nurture your soul more than anything. And when money is always there and the next trend, where am I getting the next deal from? You're never going to have the freedom or the space to be able to do what makes you happy.
It's really planning and leading with an intention, planning, building, leading with an intention rather than the hamster wheel.
100%. Love that. Okay, Reema, where can people find you? If they want to, send you a referral, where do you take referrals? What market do you work in?
I am in the greater Seattle area. So, all of King County pretty much. and parts of North Pierce County. So all of Western Washington. I do also help with relocations. I am a relocation specialist. So if you or anyone you know is moving to the Seattle area or away from Seattle, I have partners in other states that I can connect you with. And you can follow me at Reema the Realtor on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn.
I love it. Okay. Reema, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being in my circle. I value you more than you probably even know. And I thank you again for just coming on this call.
Thanks so much, Linnea. Woo! I got my first podcast under my belt.
You got this.
All right. Anybody else want to come on and have me talk? I can talk.